Well, good morning. Good morning. It is a nice and rainy Friday morning in the Chicagoland area. But guess what? I'm shining on the inside. I usually come on dancing to some type of music, and I'm still dancing because guess what? This whole series that we've been doing on Live with Dr. Ruby has been about self care. And for whatever reason, I can't let it go. So I'm going to continue to talk about self care because self care is not selfish. Self care is vital. Self care is important. I even have a self care checklist. And so I'm going to be talking to you about some of the things that are on my self care checklist today. So let's get started. The first thing I want you to remember, and we've talked about stopping the grind. In other words, it's not about the hustle. It's about just being planful and getting the work done. We talked about not being in control. You can't control everything. You can't control every person. You can't control everything. And so these self help. I'm getting a little tongue tied this morning. These self care, self help, this self care self help checklist will be available on my website at www.rubyepowell.com. But in the meantime, let's talk about self care. One of the first things I want you to remember about self care, it's not just about getting your nails done, which I did this morning. It's not about just getting a facial or getting a massage or a pedicure. It's not just about those external things. Self care starts on the inside. And so, one of the first things that I want you to remember about self care is you have to set healthy boundaries. Don't allow yourself to be accessible 24 hours a day. You are not Walmart. You are not the 24-hour convenience store. So you have to set healthy boundaries. One of the things that I always say, and I've been saying this for many, many years, and now it's become a catchphrase. I won't say that I'm totally responsible for it, but I will take some credit for it. But I've been saying this for at least 15 or 20 years. No is a complete sentence. Back in the day, when I first realized that no was a complete sentence, it was after a time when I spent a lot of time trying to find somebody else to do something that I had said no to because it wasn't convenient for me to do it. It wasn't comfortable for me to do it. And so I had to give it a no, but I gave it a no regretfully. So I spent more time trying to find somebody else to do what I said no to than it would have taken me to do it. And so I realized, you know what, Ruby? That was so out of order. That was really out of order. You should have just stuck with the no and kept it moving. But guess what? I didn't. So now I get the opportunity to teach people how to say no with no regrets. I was working with a client the other day who is a self confessed people pleaser. Those are not my words, those were her words. She said, one of my biggest problems is I'm a people pleaser. I can't say no to people. And then I feel guilty after I've done whatever it was they asked me to do because I should have been somewhere else doing something else. And so I gave her an assignment a couple of weeks ago. And I said, this is going to be really, really hard for you, but you got to do the homework in order to get past this people pleasing. I said, I want you to practice saying no. When I tell you, she was the person that I didn't care. I don't care if they said, pick that piece of paper up off the floor. She was the person that was going to jump and do it. Something as simple as that, too. Can you drive me across country? She was always saying yes. And so I said, I want you to practice saying no. And every time you say no, I want you to take a few minutes to see how you feel behind that no. And so when I met with her a couple of days ago, I asked her, I said, well, how did it feel? She said, at first, it felt really awkward. At first, it didn't feel good. At first, it was like I felt guilty. But the more I said it, the better it felt. She said, I felt liberated. You know what I told her? Keep practicing. That's the first way that you're going to set healthy boundaries. Now, if there's something that you really need to do or something that you even really want to do, and it doesn't impede upon you doing something else, then it's okay to say yes. I'm not, this is not the year of no. Let me just say that this is not the year of no. You don't have to go around saying no, 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 no to everything. But those things that are impeding your health, your self-care, and your ability to do other things deserve a no, because remember, it is a complete sentence. The second thing I want you to know is that rest days are vitally important. They're important to your physical health, they're important to your mental health. When you rest at night, there's science that says you should get between 7 and 8 hours of sleep every night. Now, some people, like my husband, can function on less than 7 hours of sleep. I can't. I need my whole 7 hours. Do I always get it? No. But I'm also that person that when I get tired, I take a nap. I'm okay with taking a nap. Naps are not just for preschoolers, naps are not just for kindergartners. When I feel myself being depleted and I can't think and I can't go on, I do that quick self assessment. What is it that I need right now? If it means stopping what I'm doing for the moment and taking a power nap, I give myself the opportunity to do so. Sometimes I don't even go to sleep. Sometimes I just rest. I just stop and I clear my mind and I just rest. And even if you're working during the day, you can take a break and rest your mind. During your lunch period, you can take a break. You can take a power nap if you're on your lunch period. I stress that. Don't fall asleep at your desk when you should be working. But rest is important to your mental health. Rest days are important. I looked at my calendar for tomorrow, and to my shock, there was nothing on it. And immediately I started saying, wow, let me check my other calendar. Is something missing? Did I forget to put something on my calendar? No, I designated tomorrow as a rest day. And I'm so human. I forgot that I designated tomorrow as a rest day. So I don't have anything on my calendar. And guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to rest. The thing that I learned about the need for rest is that you cannot pour from an empty vessel. You can turn that cup upside down, sideways, in any way you want to turn it. If there's nothing in it, nothing's going to come out. If there's nothing in you, you can't give out. And you've heard me say this on this live more times than not. You got to put your own mask on first. They tell you that on the airplane all the time. In the event of an emergency, if you're depleted, guess what? That's an emergency. You need oxygen. You need to put your oxygen mask on first and then help other people. That oxygen mask could be a nap. It could be rest. It could be shutting your phone off for the day. And for those of you all who can't shut your phone off for the day, at least shut it off for a couple of hours. The next thing I want you to know about self care is that you have to learn how to process your emotions in a healthy way, especially us women. We are emotional creatures. Sometimes I kind of envy men because men's emotions sometimes are like a light switch. They can go on, they can go off. Unfortunately, that's not the story of women. We get emotional, and there's nothing wrong with that because God made us that way so that we can be balanced out. But we have to learn how to process our emotions in healthy ways. One of the things that I do, and this is what I also encourage my clients to do when they have runaway emotions, is to stop and take a pause. Take an inventory of those emotions. What's really going on? Why am I reacting the way I'm reacting and not responding? Because sometimes things do require a response, but that reaction is what happens in that first 10 seconds after an event occurs. The response is, what's really going on? what's really operating and what's really happening that I felt the way I felt, and begin to process those things in a healthy way. If you can't find a healthy way to process those things, it's okay to seek help. I help people every day through my coaching, through my counseling, through my consulting firm. I help people every day. And I am on a campaign, on a huge campaign to normalize talking about concerns and to talk about mental health. We all, 100% of us, have had some type of crisis in our life. And if you say, I've never had a crisis in my life, guess what? You're not telling the truth. Everybody have had a crisis in your life. How you manage that crisis makes the difference in what the outcome for you will be. So if you don't know how to create healthy boundaries, if you don't know how to process your emotions in a healthy way, get help. Call me. Set up a discovery call. I'm here to help you. And guess what? If I'm not the person that can help you, I can refer you to somebody who can. I'm wise enough to know that I cannot help everybody. So I'm willing to pass you on or to refer you to someone who can help you better than I can. The next thing I want you to know, and I only got two more, stay with me for a second. Be fully present when you're engaging with your family and friends. There's nothing worse than having dinner with your family or with your friends, or for those singles that are dating, or for those marrieds that are dating. It's nothing worse than to be at dinner with the person that you're supposed to be spending quality time with, and you're on your phone, you're texting, you're answering phone calls, you're on Facebook, you're on social media, or other types of social media, and you're not present. Be okay with disconnecting from the world from time to time. Be okay with doing that. Please and thank you. Disconnect. Give that person your, you know how we used to do this? Give that person your one on one quality time. Not only do they deserve it, but you deserve it too. And then, last but not least, listen to how you feel when you're talking or spending time with certain people in your life. There are people who are life givers, who, when you're in the room with them, I've got a few friends like that. When I'm talking to them on the phone or when I'm in the room with them, I am ignited. I walk away from that conversation feeling like I could seriously run through troops and leap over walls. But then there are other times when I'm with people and I need to give them more of me, and I walk away feeling somewhat depleted. Now, that's not a bad thing. You know why? Because I know how to refresh, I know how to set that boundary, and I know how to go back and take that rest. So, put that oxygen mask on so that I can be prepared for the next. And so, those are my self help tips for today. If you want to know more about Dr. Ruby Says, go to my website, subscribe to my newsletter, www.rubyepowell.com. If you want to know how to help set healthy boundaries, if you want to know how to get professional help, I may be the professional that you need, or I may be able to refer you to another professional. Feel free to go to my website and schedule that 30-minute discovery call, www.rubyepowell.com. By all means, subscribe to my newsletter, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and LinkedIn. And until we meet again in 2 more weeks, this is Live with Dr. Ruby, signing off.